All right, still here at the 12th annual ACG New York hosted healthcare conference. It's been quite a day, full of fun and frolic, if I could say. Fantastic one-on-one meetings that have taken place between PE and PE, PEIB, all talking about healthcare, of course. We had a great interlude with that of amazing content. I know that, Chris, you were there listening to that. It was fantastic. And here we are, in and amongst all of that, I've tracked down Chris from Plante Moran. Nice to meet with you again, Chris.
Nice to see you.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well.
Yeah?
Enjoying the beautiful sunny weather here in New York City.
And where have you come in from? Remind us.
I came in from Cincinnati, Ohio yesterday. Wow. Flying back tomorrow, where it snowed a little bit yesterday, so this is better than that.
Now, well, look, Chris, I've known you for a little bit now, but I've never really delved deep into the psyche of Chris. Let's ask a little bit about you, the firm, what you do within, and we'll go from there.
So I'm a tax partner with Plante Moran. I've been there about 17 years, been doing this about 27 years.
Yep.
So been doing it a little while. I focus, well, at least in the M&A world, I focus on tax due diligence and tax structuring, and then also on the other side, I do with the private equity companies, portfolio companies, I do a lot of the tax compliance, tax, and the tax consulting in regards to those.
Yeah.
Basically, I call it cradle to grave. We start from when they buy it to when they sell them off.
Now, are you involved in healthcare at all?
I do.
The health industry?
I do. Or
healthcare industry?
I do a lot, but healthcare is one of the groups that I work with.
Yep.
And with that, I do a lot in a lot of roll-ups in the we'll call it the physician practice area, medical devices, and then a smattering of other things beyond that.
The preface of the event is very much healthcare driven, and I know you do a lot of work in that sector, of that industry. Give us your top down of what's going on in that world. It's a buoyant industry. It's one of the top three that the PE world is certainly involved in. We know that. But give us your top down of what's going on.
So you have a combination of things, and I've kind of gone through these cycles before over my career. So you have a lot of roll-up of what I call physician practices. So it could be dermatology, dentists, they're starting to get in the general practitioner a little bit, orthopedics new, but it's general, but a lot of practice rolling up. And this happened about 25 years ago, but the hospitals were doing it then. Now you have hospitals and private equity doing it. And they see there's this combination of, there's some real opportunity to get into that market. One, a lot of new doctors have a tremendous amount of debt coming out of school, so they don't have the money to go buy these practices. But they can work. They want to work. They can make good money, but they don't have the money to go buy a practice or start one from scratch. So that's part of what I think is driving it. Two, the insurance world's gotten so much more. The combination of insurance and government regulations have gotten so much more complex. In that it's very hard for a small 1 to 5 doctor practice to comply with all of the regulations and on a cost-effective basis, where if you can spread it out over 50 or 100 docs, it's a lot more cost-effective. And so that's some of the things you're seeing, at least on that side of the practice.
Is it hard to be, and maybe I'm going to ask it anyway, perhaps not the question for you, but I'll ask it anyway. Is it hard to be a bit of an entrepreneur as a doctor in this country? Is that regulation too much?
I think it is getting much harder today than it was 20 or 30 years ago, for sure. You got HIPAA now, you've got Obamacare. I mean, you got the changes on Medicare and Medicaid. All that comes together and just makes it much more cumbersome to try to be an entrepreneur in the doc world.
Well, as a Brit who's used to a welfare state and the NHS, I often marvel at this provision that is healthcare in this country. But a lot of the themes that you speak of have been spoken about at the event today. How have you found the event? What was the hope to come here? You're obviously a sponsor, so thank you for that.
No, you're welcome.
But how was the event for you?
No, it was a very good event. You had 4 great panels talking about different areas within the healthcare. It was good to hear some of the things that, like, what's cutting edge, what's the next thing people are starting to get into, whether it be biologicals and some other stuff that I didn't realize were becoming so hot. And it kind of corroborated some of the stuff that we were already seeing in like practitioners area and some of the other areas like that.
Yeah. Well, look, Chris, thank you so much for what you're doing with ACG, your sponsorship, your partnership. We very much appreciate it. Thanks for coming along today, and I think that's a wrap.